Turn left in 12 blocks. Rerouting.
Howdy y'all, Denalid here, back in Vault Hunters, and today we're going to look at 4 strategies for exploring the vaults and getting back out. It's going to be the camera account running the vaults so that I can show you that this works from the very beginning, level 0. Meanwhile, I'll be building out the dining room. I'm a bit behind on my building, so you've probably seen this big empty space across from the kitchen. That's what I'll be working on today. Meanwhile, let's talk about our first strategy, which I like to call one and done. This is a great way to start as a level 0 because all you're doing is going to the first room, getting what you can, and coming back out. It'll get you a few resources to start with, and it won't put you in too much danger. Here's a vault map. As you can see, it's a grid, and the small room in the center is the portal room. That means that there's only one way out and one way back. Of course, since I'm only going to be going one room in, navigating should be very easy. However, I always make it a habit to mark my path back in case I get turned around even inside the first room. So for this strategy, I'll literally be going in to the very first room, looting that one room, and then turning around and coming right back out. Something to know here is I'm guaranteed under level 10 to get a monolith vault every time, which unfortunately means there's no chance I'll get a scav or an elixir, which I technically might be able to finish in the first room. In other words, you're not going to complete a vault only going into one room. And here we go. I'll grab a crystal and let's pop into the vault. I mentioned this is the first vault, so there's my advancement for that. Oh. Well, this is unexpected. Okay, this is the factory challenge room, which is going to be much more difficult than a standard room. It's not something you probably want to start with, but the center path is now safe. So we're just gonna pass through here onto the next room. And first mob is a creeper, but hey, first chest is an epic. All right, there's the first bow shot achievement. And look, there's a monolith too. Now I'll show the map on the way back. It is pretty much a straight shot back. Again, I didn't even realize that I turned, so make sure you do mark your path. But at least we know getting back will be safe. I did pop into a side room off camera just to grab the other monolith so that I could show you the loot. And here's the stuff we looted. A jewel, a bounty pearl, a diamond. That's pretty good. Not bad at all for the first run. Next up is ring around the center. I'm going to exit the first room, the portal room, and I'm going to keep taking right-hand turns until I get right back where I started. This relies on the fact that the center room is closed off on 3 sides, so I can use those closed paths to navigate regardless of where on the ring I am. If there's a closed side, I go straight. If there's not a closed side, I go right. This on the whole gives me 4 right turns, then I can go back into the portal room. Basically, I'm just going to keep taking right-hand turns whenever I can, and if I can't, I'll go straight. The big advantage to this strategy is that regardless of what level you are and how big the vault gets, you always have exactly 8 rooms, and you're always very close to the exit. The disadvantage, of course, is you don't get to explore as much of the vault. But to be honest, I usually don't go through that many rooms anyway. So let's grab a bounty, open the next vault, and here we are. Now, blowing up the map for you, you can see that I take an immediate right-hand turn coming out into the first room. Then another right-hand turn. That puts us going north. And when I get into the next room, my right-hand turn is blocked. That's because the center room is there and there is no hallway. So we just keep going north. And then in the next room, I can take a right. Hang on, is this another factory room? I don't know if the game's trying to tell me something or what. Am I lucky? Am I unlucky? Anyway, we're not stopping here. There's the bedrock indicating there's no path. We're just going to keep going. Next room is a turn to the south. Then we've got another block to turn, so we keep going. And one more right-hand turn puts us in that first room after the portal. Then we can just head back. Now, while there's obviously no guarantee, going around the center always gives you 8 rooms. So you have a pretty good chance of getting all of your monoliths, all of your obelisks, even all of your elixirs or scavenger items. Hey, look at that, 3 Escallion. That's pretty lucky. Next up is going to be my wife's favorite strategy, there and back again. I'm going to go straight out of the portal room, all the way to the edge of the vault, and then I'm going to turn around and come straight back. This has the advantage of not having to keep up with your turns, although it does tend to be fewer rooms that you visit. On screen is a map of a diamond-shaped vault, and you can see that going straight out is about as far as you're going to get. Especially in these smaller vaults, if you're doing anything that requires you to turn, it's going to be easy to get lost, but if you just go straight, it's not. Simple as that. Of course, the major disadvantage here is it is fewer rooms. The ring around the center strategy always gives you 8 rooms, which is a decent number, and in larger vaults, out and back again, can give you just as many, but most of the time it just won't. However, if you're not used to navigating the vaults, this is a good next step. So let's get going. I'm just going to run all the way to the end, and I'm going to loot on my way back. You can do it either way, but again, I tend to get distracted sometimes, so I don't want to get turned around. And I don't want to forget to mark something. Yeah, that happens. So here's the map view of the trip back. You can see I'm just going south all the way down. Keep in mind when you're running these vaults that the direction that the portal room faces is random. So you won't necessarily be going south. Just keep track of which direction you came out, and you'll be fine. So there we go. We've got a jewel, mystery box, and some coins. It's not great, but it's not bad. Our fourth and final strategy is the outer rim. The idea here is that you go all the way to the outer wall and then follow that all the way around. When you get back around, you'll see that you marked the room and you can follow the path straight back to the center. The advantage here is that you see a lot of rooms, especially when you get to bigger vaults. If you're looking for a specific kind of room, or even a specific room, this is a great way to go through a lot of rooms systematically to try to find it. On the screen here, you see a circle vault. In this one, what I would do is go all the way to that outer room that has only one exit, go back one, and then follow it around. Every time I get to that isolated room, I'll just cut back one room and keep going. If you're going to attempt this strategy, one thing to note is those isolated rooms make it much easier to navigate back to the center early. As we saw with the diamond, there's only one way back, and it always points directly at the center room. So if you end up running short on time, you can cut back through to the center and then use the ring strategy to find the entrance to the portal room. Of course, the disadvantage here is if you're like me and you tend to make wrong turns, you might have a hard time figuring out where it went wrong. Well, I have a hard time. This is why it's important to mark things. So always remember to mark your path. Side note, I just remembered that I have spare armor lying around for nearly every level. So yeah, let's use that. Now, a stroke of luck for me, this turned out to be a circle vault. So here I am going all the way out to the end. And then I cut back one room, take a right-hand turn, and this should put me going counterclockwise around the outside of the vault. And this is where things went wrong. That first right turn is pretty easy, but I get distracted so much. And I was trying to get this ore, and I couldn't get the spawner because I had a terrible pick, and I couldn't get a better pick yet. But I kept trying, and it kept not working, and I kept trying anyways, and eventually I ended up just falling right in. So I escaped, and then immediately went to a different POI, and basically did the same thing. Moving on. Long story short, I took a wrong turn out of the room, and it took me a while to realize it. Now, normally this wouldn't be a problem because, as you can see, this villager room has no southern exit, which means it's right beside the center, but I turned the wrong way because I was trying to get back to the edge, and I failed. So I just kept wandering and kept wandering and kept wandering until I happened to find one of the corner rooms. I used that to head back toward the center, but again, I turned too early. Finally, I tried using the F3 screen, but of course in the vault it doesn't show your coordinates. I found the villager room again, and finally realized that it had no south exit, but after that I was able to circle the vault and get back to the entrance. The loot was decent though. We got some potassium and a size 17 picking jewel, which is pretty nice. So there you have it. 3 good strategies and one that maybe it'll work better for you than it does for me. Good luck. So really the takeaway here is be better at marking your path than I am, and be better at following your path than I am. So what do y'all think? Do you have a better strategy? Please suggest it in the comments. And with that, I'm going to call it an episode. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope you had fun. I know I did. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.